Very bullish myself, but 1 million in 2025 is outrageous. Well, you don't I mean, I'm not gonna shit on anybody here or, get into an argument. Vendetta's saying the same thing here. Ridiculous. It's not ridiculous at all. It's not. As Duncan says here, 1 million is a $20 trillion market cap. Where does that come from? Well, here's where it's going to come from. What's the market cap of gold right now? 20 trillion. Is Bitcoin better than gold? Yes. Today, Bitcoin should be worth, Bitcoin in my mind is worth more than $1 million today, without a doubt. So where's that going to come from? It's going to come from the money printing. It's going to come from low rates. It's going to probably some from the gold. I know gold bugs are pretty stubborn, so I don't expect a lot to flow out of there. It's going to come from people selling their rental homes and buying Bitcoin. And once the price starts moving up, there's going to be a whole new level of interest within retail. Plus, all the governments, all the states, they're starting to buy Bitcoin, all these hedge funds. And there's obviously a huge demand for it when you see things like Metaplanet, Strategy, GameStop. There's so much demand for them because that's the only way that these large pools of capital can buy Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean, it probably sounds crazy today. I don't give a shit, but we'll talk at the end of the year. To me, Bitcoin is worth $1 million minimum today. And there's only so much of this asset. I know everybody thinks this is crazy to think about, but like $1 million, I'm pretty sure even $2 million would be like a normal bull run in Bitcoin this year. It wouldn't be any different than 2017. And there is 1,000 times more demand today than there was then. Plus, you have an administration in the US who's actually wanting this thing to succeed. Like, I know after a couple months, everybody's tired, everybody's frustrated with the price of Bitcoin, and it's very hard to see that is a possibility. And I might be wrong. I've been wrong plenty of times before. But to me, it just makes sense. And yes, Jay is absolutely right here. Remember the market cap? For the market cap to go to $20 trillion, we don't need 18 trillion to flow into it. It's about bid, ask, and demand, 100%. And we've never had any asset like Bitcoin before, where we have absolute scarcity. Regardless of how much demand there is, absolute scarcity. And actually, I want to play a clip from this because this is a good time for it. Let me just take 30 seconds here, if you can bear with me, and I'll play this clip that I saw that I was actually planning to show today and talk about why I think that this is the case and why Bitcoin is. I know we like comparing it to gold and real estate, but think about how much money is in the bond markets and the stock market. And both of those things are incredibly, especially the stock market, incredibly overvalued right now. And as people figure that out, as the green light turns on around the world, there's going to be more and more people fighting for that same amount of scarcity at the bottom line. 19.6 million Bitcoin. And the majority of that Bitcoin is not going to move. So where is this? Okay, let's start this. I should have probably got to the point that I wanted to start with, but it was a busy morning here. So let's start right here. 1 million is 1 sat equals 1. Is it? Oh yeah, that's right. Yep. 1 sat equals 1 cent. And once that happens, we're going to 2 and then 3 and then 5 very quickly. I think people are very much underestimating how high this is going to go and how fast that's going to happen. Okay. Oh, let me bring this up here. Imagine you turn on your ticker and instead of showing Bitcoin is worth $888,000 per Bitcoin, it says 1 sat equals 1 cent. Which one are you more likely to buy? probably the 1 sat equals 1 cent. You can say, oh shit, I can get 100 sats for $1. What? I didn't even know what a sat was. I can buy Bitcoin for less than XRP. XRP is $2. Sats are 1 cent. Why would I buy XRP? Why would I buy Ethereum? It's $3,000. Sats are 1 cent.
Profit. They like to be transparent. They don't like to catch markets offside. Markets do not like uncertainty, and they do not like shaky markets. So I think it's going to be tremendously good for Bitcoin. Listen, guys, Bitcoin's the only asset in the world that you can't make any more of. So any new demand, you have to buy it and get it from the market, not from the ground. You can't get more Bitcoin from a factory. You can't get more Bitcoin from underground. You have to get Bitcoin from people who have it, people like me. And so it goes immediately into price discovery. So that's been my opinion. It's going to remain my opinion. Are we in stealth QE 5.0? Maybe. But not, I mean, whatever version of QE, if we are in right now, I think we're all in for a treat. I would say starting in the next few months through the rest of this year, and probably well into 2026 as well, probably in the midterms. Can you explain why ES futures, the E-mini S&P 500, wouldn't do this as effectively as Bitcoin? Wouldn't do what as effectively as ES futures? Asset. Bitcoin is the scarcest asset in the history of our species, which is very simple but profound point. I often compare the promise and guarantee of Bitcoin. I mean, this is a dramatic point that I've made very often, but I equate it to the promise and guarantee of death. You know, the only reason that any of us value our lives is because we know we aren't going to live forever. It's because we know we're going to die, right? If someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, good news, man, you're never going to die, I'd go to the gym in 1,000,000 years. I'd start eating healthy in 10 million years. I'd think about having kids in 100 million years. Why would I ever value the sunset tomorrow? Why would I ever value the life I have tomorrow? The reason I get up for the sunset, the reason I take care of my body, the reason I'm prioritizing relationship and I want to be a father soon, that's because I know my time isn't forever, right? It is a finite promise that I'm going to die. And it's that finite promise that no matter what I do, I can't escape. That's what gives my life value, okay? It's the promise of death is what makes life valuable. Now, for Bitcoin, it's the same thing. With more demand comes more supply in everything in your life, right? You want more McDonald's cheeseburgers, you want more iPhones, you want to find more gold, you want more Facebook stock, you want more US dollars, you want more hoodies, you want more shirts, you want more LeBron James shoes, anything you want. With more demand, if there's enough demand, more supply. Elon Musk said, you know, I can go find more gold on Mars if you really want me to, right? More demand, more supply, except Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the only thing in the world, think about this, in the world where more demand cannot create more supply. It's the same thing as that finite promise of death. You can't escape it. I've often said the world can change Bitcoin, or Bitcoin can change the world, because the world cannot change Bitcoin, right? Humans.
Okay, that's what that's exactly what I'm talking about here. I get it. It's hard for the brain to comprehend this. It is, because we've never had anything like it before. And Jack's talking about, yes, you can literally create more of anything except time. And so when you think about it, if you think about how many, the part that he missed here, though, that I wanted to go a little bit further on, was the fact that, yes, everything else can be created. He said more Facebook stock, but think about the companies on the S&P 500. Think about what they make. And think about how those companies are currently valued on the stock market. The majority of them, I'd say 99% of them are holding their treasury, their reserves in fiat. Yes, they have products, but we're moving into a world where you're going to be able to create whatever the hell you want to from your house and print it somewhere. Like that's where we're moving to here. And when the world figures that out, and again, this might not happen this year, but it's going to happen slowly. And as those green lights turn on, as more and more people realize what this thing is, that we can't create more of it, regardless of how many people want it, that is just going to continuously drive up the price forever. And $1 million this year, I think would not surprise me one bit. It might not happen. I might be wrong. You guys might be right. That's not the point here, is that it's going to happen eventually. And I think that as this happens and people understand how scarce this asset is and how valuable this asset is, it is going to move. And it's not going to take a whole lot. As mentioned here by Jay, remember the market cap. For the market cap to go to 20 trillion, we don't need $18 trillion coming into it. It's about who's holding it now and what are they willing to sell it for? How much is available and how much are the rest of the people wanting to sell it for? 5% of the total Bitcoin supply is going to be mined over the next 100 years. So that means you can try as hard as you want to. If nobody's willing to sell it to you, which, yes, I know there's always going to be buyers and sellers, of course, but what price? What price is that going to be? Because I know that there's a lot of people like me who wouldn't even consider selling my whole stack for less than $100 million. Because what is that going to buy me? What can I buy with that? What am I going to do with it? I understand what Bitcoin is. Green light has come on in my life, and I don't need $100 million. What the hell would I do with that? Some people will, yes. But this is a totally different asset than anything that we have ever seen before. And when that happens, you have to think a little bit differently. And some things might happen. Some might not. No one knows what will happen. I agree with that. I read somewhere that the money supply will increase even further past July, which is super bullish for Bitcoin. 100%. Daft444, hello from France. Good morning. DSOTD nominees. What's that? Oh, dipshit of the day nominees. No, it's fair. These are, I'm not going to make fun of anybody. Like, I might be wrong. I was wrong this month. So, like, I'm not immune. Like, I'm not claiming to be right about everything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we just have to change our minds a little bit here because this asset is so unique, so much different than anything we've ever seen before. And so it's very hard to predict what could happen. It could go to 1 million. It could go to $10 million this year. We don't know. We don't. Because we've never had an asset like this before. That's my whole point of what I'm trying to make here. Yes, I might be wrong, but Vendetta might be wrong. Who knows? We got nothing to go off of here. That's but very, very simply, the demand will continue to increase forever as the green lights turn on around the world. Those green lights, the people who understand Bitcoin aren't going to sell it for less than it's worth. And as that demand builds, as that number grows, that's more and more people who are fighting for the same amount of supply, the bottom line there. And that will be the equation forever because we cannot create more of this asset. That's the whole point of this conversation today. We cannot create more of this asset, regardless of how many people want it. That top number, the demand number of people who understand Bitcoin, not who own Bitcoin, not who have Bitcoin wallets, but the people who understand Bitcoin, as that top number grows, those lights never shut off. Nobody gets into Bitcoin, understands it, then goes back into fiat. So that number will increase forever. There's going to be more and more people fighting for the same scarce supply, the bottom line here. That's the green light theory. That's what Jack is saying here. And that's why it's so unpredictable because we've never seen anything like this before. There has never been, in human history, there's never been anything like Bitcoin before. So no, they're not dipshits of the day. They're just like average people who have a hard time understanding exponential growth and absolute scarcity. And I don't pretend to myself. I'm probably even selling this thing short, honestly. Imagine how crazy this space would be at 1 million Bitcoin price. Yeah, it will be. It will be crazy. And there's just so many other factors involved. Longer term, of course, but even in the short term, liquidity will probably be the biggest driver. Low rates will be a big part of it too. But yeah, I mean, long term, like all that money's going to flow out of gold. All that money's going to flow out of real estate. Every AI on the planet is going to be asking for Bitcoin. Every person is going to be wanting to work for Bitcoin instead of fiat. All businesses are going to be accepting Bitcoin instead of fiat. And when that whole thing happens, like as that plays out, 1 million is going to be a joke. Dogecoin's worth 17 cents. Yeah, nobody understands this thing. That's why it's 80. I made a post on Nostr last night. I said, if I texted every single person in my contact list on my phone and asked them to explain Bitcoin, I would get 0 responses back. And that's why the price today, including the paper Bitcoin, that's why it's $82,000 today. Vendetta says, every cycle people cite the same reasons for massive price appreciation quickly, and they always overshoot. Well, I would disagree with that because not every cycle has had BlackRock. Not every cycle has had the US government actively wanting this thing to succeed. Not every cycle has had a micro strategy and the clear demand for how much these larger pools of capital want Bitcoin but can't get Bitcoin. So I agree in the sense that yes, people have probably said some of the same reasons before, but it's on a much different scale now. And instead of 900 Bitcoin being produced per day, it's 450 this time. And in 3 years from now, it's going to be 225. And then it's going to be 112. And then it's going to be 50. And then it's going to be 25 per day. And it's not going to take very long to get there either. 99% of the total supply will have been mined. That's why I don't pay attention to the supply anymore, because it's completely irrelevant. Just round up to 21 million. It's all about the top line, the demand, the green lights. We will get there, but not this year. Well, maybe. Like, I don't pretend that I know for sure, and you shouldn't pretend that you know either. That's what I'm trying to say here. There's an argument for both sides of it. I'm just saying it would not surprise me if we got to $1 million at all this year. I would be 0% surprised. Check out the episode of The Path to Bitcoin I sent to Maple Bitcoin. It's so much bigger than store of value, monetary or medium of exchange, and unit of account. 100%. 100%. I'm going to be doing a video here in the next couple of days called Bitcoin is the new language of Earth, because it is. It's much more than all of these things. It is literally the new language and truth and honesty and transparency and a whole new way of thinking of things. It goes beyond all this.